Thank you, everybody. So it's not the same when you're behind the computer. All right. So a lot of the things today I was asked to come in, and one of the things that I was asking Spirit was what is needed at this time, right? Because there's so much happening in our world. There's just so much chaos, so much hurt, so much confusion. And one of the things that the Spirit said was, you have to look within yourselves, right? And I just love that message, because one of the things that it was constantly repetitive thought was, all these things are happening. There's a reason why they're happening. Nothing is for nothing. And these reasons and these things that are happening are supposed to help us grow, and it's supposed to help us develop, and it's supposed to help us be better beings of light, right? So, and I was like, oh, that's amazing. But we're so hurt. We're so hurt emotionally and mentally and physically. There's so much pain and there's so much hurt within us and everywhere around us. And people just kept coming and coming to me in regards to, well, this is happening, and always just looking at the wrong and the negative aspects of things. And I was like, look, I don't know what else to tell people. And then in that process, I lost a baby. And it was really interesting because I was like, okay, how do we gain hope again? How do we gain faith again? How do we gain strength again? And in that process, Hilarion, one of the ascended masters that I follow, he teaches me. He's one of my specific, I guess, my favorites. And it's the aspect of truth, but it's the aspect of healing, right? And it's the aspect of how do we heal those things that are hurting? How do we heal those things that are no longer there for us, or that they have transformed, or they're no longer how we want them, right? Our own expectations of how things should be. And Hilarion taught me a really, really important lesson through this process, this whole year of me processing. And it was the aspect of, we have to heal, it's not just our physical body, but it's our emotional and it's our mental bodies. If our mental and our emotional bodies are not healed, our physical bodies are not healed. Doesn't matter what you do with it. You could have all the doctors, all the, energy healing that you want. You could go to, hug trees and walk through nature and eat perfectly great food, healing food. But if your mental and your emotional bodies are not in the best that they could be, then you're always going to be lacking somehow. There's some need that is going to be happening, and your physical body will notice and we will react to it. So so I was like, okay, Hilarion, that sounds amazing. So how do we do this? Because I was broken. I was really broken. Losing a child it really breaks you. And you don't think it does, but it really does. Mind you, it was just probably weeks old, but still, it's like you have that thought. And then I think about everything that breaks us in our everyday lives, everything that happens to us, everyone that, and I just look around and it's like, oh my God, how did we become so broken, and how can we unbreak ourselves? How can we change that? How can we become full again? And Hilarion very wisely said, well, you could stay there in your energy of, oh, poor me, or you could move on and I will teach you. And I said, okay, fine. After fighting with him for months, I finally said, okay, fine. I will sit down and I will learn. What is it you need to teach me? And he said, very interesting enough, well, there's nothing new. Everything's already been said. It's just put it into use and put it into practice. That all the tools are already out there. Is how you put them together, how you work with those tools. And as you work with those tools, how they actually help us heal. And I asked very specifically, will this tool help us also in the physical, our physical bodies? And he very sternly looked at me and said, Leslie, The physical body will always get something, some type of benefit from this. But it is not the physical body that we are interested in. We are interested in your emotional and etheric bodies, your mental bodies, because those are the bodies that will move with you lifetime after lifetime. Those are what is going to complement you. That's what you're going to hold on to. Your physical body will become dust again. It was really an interesting point where he said that. I was like, oh yeah, it makes sense. But he said, and it was really interesting when he said, what is important out of this is, how do you go through life and how do you perceive life every single moment with every single experience? Because if you go through life with experiencing and thinking that all this negativity is going to be happening, then, you know, negativity is what you will receive. But if you start moving in energy and start thinking in the positive and changing it, so then you have the magic, right? You have what alchemy is. And alchemy is a beautiful, beautiful aspect of magic because it's the change. It's being able to change things as they seemed. Because that's something really important that we need to understand. This is in accordance to what you know. This is in accordance to what you can see. This is in accordance to what you have lived. So if you have in the aspect of your limitations and you say, this is as much as I can give, this is as much as I can understand, then that's your limitation. But Hilarion really wants us to kind of like push that a little bit, to kind of push in the aspect of you're not limited to anything. Because if you heal your mental and your emotional, there's no limits to the healing that can take place, to the transcension and ascension of your own energies. So with that, I'm sorry, I usually have a notebook and I didn't bring one. Well, one of the things, and I want you guys to understand, because this is really important when he speaks, and he speaks in regards to signs. And I want you guys to just visualize this sign because it is powerful. And this is what he taught me. I'm teaching, I'm just letting you guys, because it worked. And it worked to the point that now I actually, I have at my home a 2-month-old baby. So it is a process that happens, and it is a process of healing that happens, and it's a process of, you know, you see the beauty of it and you learn through that process. Yeah, my Nikolai is just so much full of love for him right now. So one of the things that he taught us was there is this symbol, and everybody knows this symbol, and in many religions, faiths, and belief systems, and in many different practices, we have this symbol. And people use it in many different ways. So there's no right or wrong way. So let me just make sure that everybody knows that. There's no right or wrong way of using it as long as the intention is positive. So everybody knows the stars of David, right? So it's the 6-point star. So you have a triangle going up and a triangle going down. The one that is going up is our lower bodies and how we want to ascend them. The one that is going down is the divine energy and how it comes down to us. And when you have those two triangles put together, they make a Merkaba, right? They make a change. They make an aspect of unity. They make an aspect of transformation. It is one of the most powerful tools that we have in the third dimension when it comes to alchemy, because it's the actual change. So one of the things that Hilarion said to us was, okay, so now let's make a Merkaba. And I'm like, okay, so we're going to sit here and I'm going to visualize it. And he started very basic with me. He said, I want you to draw it. Just draw it. Because when you draw it, you focus your attention into something physical. And that was the first instruction I got. So I'm going to invite each and every one of you that you have something to write with to draw that triangle, right? The Merkaba or the Star of David, the 6-point star. And when you have that, I want you guys to focus on that one thing, right? Focus on that and look at it. Now, there's different ways to do it. If you want to contain it, obviously you put the circle around it. But at this moment, I don't want you to do anything else, just the triangles, right? The triangle going up and the triangle going down. When you see it, I want you guys to look at it and just gently and softly, just look at it. Now, the energies that go up are the physical material things. So you have the earth, right? You have those lower aspects of yourself, those aspects that are in pain, those aspects that you want to transform, those aspects that you want to purify, those aspects that have limited you, those aspects that you have thought at some point or another they have broken you. So those are the aspects that you're going to, so think about them and write them. Try to write them down in the aspect of, because again, it's focusing your energy. You have to have an intention. And your intention is that anything that you put, that you write, when you're thinking about that triangle that is going in the upward, right? Is all the things that you want to change in your life. So think about your mental. Think about what mentally are you right now stuck on? What aspects are you obsessed with? What things in your life are there? They are limiting you. Your beliefs, they are limiting you. And let's go to our emotional bodies. What emotions constantly come back to us over and over and over that hurt us, that takes the power away from us? Think about the anger. Think about the suffering. Think about the loneliness, the depression. Think about the anxieties that we have, not just for ourselves, but about society or what's happening in society or what's going on in our world. So this exercise you can do not just for yourselves. You could do it for your families. You could do it with your friends. You could do it for the world. What is it in the world that you're seeing, that you're feeling, that is getting you anxious, right? What is it in the emotional bodies, not just of you, but of things that preoccupy you, right? That you're feeling and that you're stuck with. So, and you write them down, because this triangle is really, really powerful. And it's really powerful because you could do this exercise at any time. I would highly suggest for you guys to center yourself when you're doing it, because it is very powerful. And the more that you do it and the more energy that you put into it, the more powerful and the more change it could bring into your lives. So then, once you do that, Hilarion said to us, now, I want you to call upon the energy of my beloved brother, Saint Germain. And you're going to see that triangle in pure violet. I'm like, okay, well, this is not bad. I could do that, right? So here I am. I'm literally took a crayon, a purple crayon, and I just did the violet, around it. And as I was doing the violet, in my head came obviously the invocation of the violet flame. Yeah, I am the violet flame in action in me. And I was like, huh. And the more that I went around with the violet, the more I was able to visualize this triangle and all these things that I wanted to transmute, all these things that I wanted to change, all these things that I wanted to transform. I was like, okay, this is working. This is beautiful. I could do this. And I did that for maybe 5 minutes. And then I was like, okay, Hilarion, is this it? Because, where's the green in this? Where's the healing piece in this part? And he always tells me, I don't have a lot of patience. And then he says, well, now we're going to work with the one that is descending. And the descending triangle is the triangle of Hilarion. And it is the triangle of healing. And it is the triangle of change. And it's this triangle that is in accordance to the divine will of God. And it is the triangle. So it's not necessarily what you want. It's not necessarily your expectation of how your health should be looking like. It's not necessarily that it things that need to be different, completely different. But it is in the aspect of the healing of how things should have been in accordance to your divine plan, or to the divine plan of your family, your friends, the earth, the society, whatever it is that you're putting in that purple triangle. And he says that.
Could you repeat that?
Sure. So it's in accordance to, Hilarion was really specific that this that he's going to teach us is not in regards to change, to make a change in accordance to what we want. It's more in accordance to what is the divine plan within that you're asking. And he's very specific about that. Yeah, unfortunately, Ascended Masters do not have sides. It's not, this is the right thing or this is the right thing, right? No, it's in accordance to what is for the highest good of. So in accordance to that, he said, now, I want you to put, what is it that you're asking? All these things that you just asked for. Now write the opposite of that. So if you're broken, then you become unbroken. If you're stuck, then you're becoming unstuck. Does that make sense? If you feel lonely, you're no longer alone, right? Do you have love? And that was one of the biggest one for me. It was love. And once you have that and you have written it down and you see it in a paper, and obviously then you take the green crayon at some point and you're going to see, and you're going to start coloring the green. And you're going to visualize how that green is going to start descending. So now you have the green and you have the violet or the purple coming together to become that beautiful 6-star star. You see it? 6-point star. And when you're able to see that, now it's the magic, because everything is movement. In energy, when you're working with energy, it has to move. It can't just sit there, because then it's not energy. And what you do is, now you start, this is where the Merkaba aspect of things is, because it needs to move. So I want you guys, and this is why it was so empowering, the visualization of it. That's why you have to write it down, because now you have a focus. And now let's bring that focus into our minds. And I want you guys in your minds to see and to visualize how one is going from right to left and the other one is going from left to right. And how they are both transcending and changing and manifesting in movement. And that's a beautiful movement that is happening. And from time to time, it's going to slowly shift. And it's going to go up this way, and it's going to go this way. Why is it going that way? Because the energy needs to shift. The energy needs to be transcended. The energy that is stuck needs to get unstuck. What is happening is, whatever it is, your old patterns, your old belief system, that energy that you have been living with, as that you have taken for granted and say, this is what it is. It's no longer your truth, because now it can move. Now it could shift. Now you have space for the healing to happen. Now you have the space for the energy to be shifted within you, through you, and all around you. And he goes even deeper and says, now you have it in your visual, in your mind. Now he made me sit down in my lotus flower within the sacred chamber of my heart. And he says, and now you sit within this. And now you visualize it. And once you're visualizing, you visualize it through every atom, electron, neutron, and proton, through every cell of not just your physical bodies, but through your ethereal bodies, through your mental, through your emotional bodies. And you're feeling that energy and you're having that visualization in manifestation. And little by little, as you keep giving and as you keep accepting it, it will start transforming, changing your space. And a miracle happens. And it's called the miracle of healing, the miracle of co-creating. And that's what he called the creator star. Because you are co-creating, you are creating your healing, you're creating your new being, you're co-creating what you were meant to be. Not just this physical body, but you are co-creating what you're meant to be, as the beautiful song that was chosen, I am that I am. I am my perfect being of light. I am perfection. I am at peace. I am at healing. I am healed. And it's a beautiful, beautiful process that happens and takes place. It takes 30 days for anyone to learn a new thing, a new habit, right? 30 days. But it takes 90 days for it to become a physical manifestation. So I'm just giving you the information that Hilarion gave to us. 90 days. If you do this 90 days on a continuum every day, and it doesn't have to be for long periods of time. Once you have the visualization, once you have the thoughts, once you have it, once you're in your center, all you have to hold it is for 5 minutes. How he called it 5 human minutes, but 5 minutes. Once you hold that visualization for 5 minutes, for 90 days, true miracles will happen, not only in your physical, but in your mental and your emotional bodies. You will feel freer. You will have more space within you to be able to work through a lot of the energies that are happening in Earth right now. Because, I mean, I don't know about you all, but you know that Earth is, a lot of energies are happening right now. And this changing and shifting, there's the positive, good energies, but also the same energies, if a person is not balanced, can really mess them up. Because energy is not good or bad. Energy is just energy. And if you're not prepared, and if you're not mentally and emotionally prepared and balanced, these energies can take you out. Confusion, anxiety, heart attack, like everything. It just happens because you're not ready. You're not vibrating at the right vibration. But if you're doing this and you're balancing yourselves, then those energies are going to be purified, and you're receiving the purest of energy for your own health, for your own development, for your own change. Any questions about it?